Okay, just mix up. So, good afternoon, Mr. Yi. This is our video presentation of our group assignment for delivery services, which is the topic of our group assignment for the principles of microeconomics. So, firstly, what I have done, what have I found for my research is one of the factors that will affect the market equilibrium for delivery services is the COVID-19 pandemic. So with the COVID-19 pandemic ongoing and the implementation of the movement control or MCO in Malaysia, many people, including me, will be confined mostly in our homes. So how will this affect consumers? This will affect consumers is that consumers need to look for an alternative to dine-in food. So delivery services such as GrabFood, foodpanda, and so on will become an alternative to restaurants for consumers as we do not have the ability to freely move about. So how does the movement control order or the MCO affect the market equilibrium of delivery services? So during the movement control order, there will be an increase in demand for delivery services. So what from my finding is the demand curve will shift to the right and upwards and the equilibrium point will shift right and upwards along the demand curve on the supply and demand curve. However, this also meant that prices of food for delivery services may also increase. So now I'm going to pass over to my teammate Ernie Lok for the second part for factor.
Hello, I'm Ernie Do. So the factor is there is a change in the preferences of the consumers. As of in today's society, people do not have much time nor the energy to cook their own meals these days. Moreover, many people are also working from home as well. Many consumers will need to look for an alternative to dine in or cooking at home to get food. So delivery services are utilizing by many food service providers to deliver food to consumers so that food can be obtained without having to leave home or spend time cooking meals. A prime example of this is that the white collar workers of this society that we live in, many will just call in delivery services to their company so that they can just dine in during their work. So on my other point, due to the increase in the demand for food from delivery services, the demand curve will shift right and outwards. The equilibrium point will shift upwards and rightwards along the demand curve. This may also mean that prices of delivery services may increase. That is all. Now for Wei-Ling.
Hello, Mr. Yi. I'm Wei-Ling. Now I'm going to present about factor 3, which is price of inputs, which is take out the food. Explanation. Nowadays, there will be a surge of demand for take-out foods by restaurants. Because of the increase in demand for take-out foods, the supplier of the food service industry will have to increase price of delivery foods, which will make delivery food more expensive than dine-in food. For example, based on image below, the price of McDonald's set meal may cost $40 in store. However, it will cost 19.30 cents if consumer order through takeout. How does this affect graph and market equilibrium? Supply curve may shift left and upwards due to lower demand from consumers due to higher price. Moreover, this will shift equilibrium point to the left along the demand curve. Delivery service may have increased the price. That's all for our presentation. Thank you, Mr. Yi.
All right. So this is all for our presentation, and we thank Sir for listening to our video presentation. Thank you very much, Mr. Yi.
Alright guys, my name is Carlton Young and this is my friend Law Kai Jack. So we are going to present our part B, where government policy that may affect the market equilibrium of the delivery service. For example, Food Panda or GrabFood. Alright. So I will start talking about what is actually the government policy. So government policy is actually the objective for the nation economy. Government will intervene to take any economic policy decision uh, to achieve economic growth, and also low employment rates, and to reduce the inequalities between the citizens in the aspect of wealth and income. And the government policy also covers the setting of taxation, the government budget, money supply during the economic period of recession or inflation. So these are the example of the policy, governmental policy that will be taken during the unforeseeable period of recession or inflation. Fiscal policy is all about the tax adjustment from the government, and also the monetary policy is the adjustment of interest rates from the bank, from the central bank. So let's move on to what will affect the market equilibrium if any of the government policy is included. For example, tax. So taxation is a compulsory payment for any of the business, and tax included will be like service tax, which is legislated tax rate at 6%. This is commonly known as a USD in Malaysia, and also SST as 10%. So if the increase or decrease of tax price happens, that will affect the demand and supply of the delivery service, since that the tax of the price is included inside the bill. So the consumer will question themselves if there's a necessary of ordering food online or having meal outside after the changes of price of the delivery service. So if there's any adjustment from the government about the tax rate, then the demand and supply of the delivery food like Food Panda or GrabFood will be affected. And if the increase of the price in tax, then there will be the low demand from ordering food online. So this is all about the government policy one tax. So I'll be moving. So I'll let my friend to talk about his policy.
Okay, the second government policy is rules and regulations. The government rules and regulation will influence the delivery service market equilibriums. And for example, according to the Malay Meal, Malaysia's government has set a regulation which is the restaurant can only open for takeaways, deliveries, and strictly no dine-in during the MCO. Restaurants and eateries can only cater for food delivery service such as GrabFood, Foodpanda, and others during the movement control orders. Therefore, the demand of delivery service will increase. Because of the demand has increased, so the demand curve will shift to right and upwards. So this is the graph. Yes, next. The third government policy is lower interest rates. Malaysia's central bank has lowered its interest rate by 0.5 percentage point from 2.5% to an annual rate of 2%. It will affect the bank's interest rate, then the attractiveness of money entering the banks become weaker. Reason why Malaysia will lower the interest rate is because government want people to take their money out from the bank and spend it. Hence, the demand of the delivery service will increase. The demand curve will shift left and upward due to the increase in demand of delivery service. Next. So this is the photo of the interest rate, and you can see that from 3rd of March, the percentage of 2.5% has lowered to the 2%. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
All right, thank you. This is all about part B. All right. Good morning, Mr. Yi. We are from Group 10, and we are going to present the Part C, assignment of macroeconomic. So, next. So we will be explaining what are the types of externalities that may affect the market. And here is the explanation of externality of market. Is when the market can fail when the quantity produced is not equal to the quantity demanded of the society. So next. So this is next. So this is the explanation of market failure. And as we can see from the graph, we found that the social cost curve is more upward than the private cost. Moreover, the Q1 equilibrium point, which represents the amount of the market wants, which means that Q1 is the exact amount of society wants, and Q1 is less than Q2, which represent the amount of the market is producing. So what does this mean? This means that the delivery service is overproduced. As a result, this is the negative externality from the production. So moving on to the next slide, I will be providing some other example of the market failure. So as we can see, this is the graph. This is the picture from the internet over trends. So this is the US crude oil production. So as we can see, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the crude oil production has been cut down from nearly 13,000 barrel per day to 11,000 barrel per day from the early year of 2019 to the 2020 this year. So the quarantine season has demanded people around the world to stay at home, as we know that job being canceled, and since then there is a huge cut on business activities around the country. So demand of the crude oil from consumer has dropped drastically during the first half year of 2020. This has made the crude oil production to be overproduced. As the result, the real demand of the crude oil has reduced drastically compared to the historical market equilibrium of crude oil, which means that it has been an overproduced phenomenon compared to the real market, compared to the demand of the real market. So overproduce will make the price to become more cheaper, and also known as a market surplus. So there must be an adjustment of new oil price where it is to balance the difference of demand and supply. Hence the OPEC, which is the organization of the oil company, has declared to cut the oil production during their meeting in July 2020. So this is the result of overproduction, which will cut down the production. Okay.
Okay, so now I'm going to present consumption externalities for delivery services. So for consumer externalities, it may have a negative externalities from the consumption. So the explanation is given is that when people use delivery services to obtain the goods such as food items, where we know the famous pizza delivery or the Grab food we have from Foodpanda or Grab food recently, or the clothing, which many of us order clothes online these days, and also as well as electronics products. So, however, there may be noise pollution stemming from those noises coming from delivery services such as motorcycles and trucks when consumers come to collect their goods. And this may in fact affect the disturbance and produce noise in a relatively quiet neighborhood. So as according to the World Health Organization, noise is second only to air pollution in the impact it has on health. So it is also a major cause for hearing loss, heart disease, learning problems in children, and sleep disturbances, which can affect others from the consumer of delivery services if we will be according to what has the image shown to us over here and over there. So what are the effects on the consumption externality graph? Since there is a negative effect on externalities, there will be the private benefit curve will be higher than the social benefit curve. So it means that the consumption, what does this mean? The consumption of delivery services by an individual will benefit him or her more than what society can benefit from. So now I am going to pass over to Ernie Low for the explanation on production on externality graph. production.
Okay, thank you, users. So what are the production externalities? So for the production externalities, it will be a negative externality. The reason given is that the increase of utilization of delivery services by businesses could lead to air pollution. The example of this evidence is according to this image given the 2030 base case scenario by the World Economic Forum study conducted. There will be an estimated growth of delivery vehicles by 36% between the years of 2019 and 2030. This may result in increase of CO2, which is carbon dioxide emissions, by 6 million tons. So if more delivery services are utilized by businesses such as post office, restaurant, department store, the social cost will be more than the private cost. So for the production externalities curve provided, what will happen to the production externalities curve? Since there is a negative effect on production externalities curve, the social benefits curve will be higher than the private benefit curve. This is known as the negative production externalities graph. From the graph, we can conclude that social cost is higher than private cost because of pollution levels that people may have faced as a result of increasing pollution level emitted by delivery vehicles. That is all.
And group assignment. Thank you, Mr. Yi.
All right, thank you.